Good morning, Father Judge. Along with the new year, we will also be adding new additions to our broadcast, including interviews. We are here this morning with Mr. Jason Budd, who works in the development office and also serves as a crew moderator. Mr. Budd, can you tell us a little bit about the crew program here at Father Judge?
Sure. The crew program here at Judge began approximately in the 1960s. It had its roots in the efforts of a gentleman by the name of Father Baldwin. He was first coach and later a moderator. Our current coach, Phil Roach, took over in the early 1970s while he was still a student and undergraduate at St. Joe's University. The crew rose on the historic Schuylkill River, which is the baseball equivalent of Fenway Park, or what Lambeau Field is to football. In the early days of crew here at Father Judge, interesting story, students would hitchhike from campus down to the river. Today they travel by bus. And that bus is driven by our coach, Phil Roach, and they travel back to the campus after practice on the same bus. Our home base is on the river. It's on historic Boathouse Row. It's known as Malta Boathouse. It's sort of green. It's the tallest house on the Schuylkill, and the locker room is located on the top floor.
All right, well, crew is obviously rowing, but is it a tough sport to participate in?
It is. People think it's incredibly tough physically. The truth of the matter is that it's much more a mental challenge. Most of us have the capacity to row crew. The mental aspect is doing it every day and working harder at something that seems redundant over and over again in order to get better. And so therein lies the mental the mental component to it.
Okay. What kind of skills or experience do judge rowers need?
So here's an interesting fact. Father Judge rowing is one of the most prolific sports in the school. Numerous world championship competitions, numerous national championships, dozens of Catholic League and city championships, Olympic rowers, Olympic coxswains, but yet no one who's ever been on the rowing team has ever rowed before they got to Father Judge. Wow. So all that you need to row at Father Judge is a positive attitude and a committing spirit.
So when does the crew row?
So crew is a two-season sport. They row in the spring and they row in the fall. In the wintertime, they train here on campus in a space in the cafeteria, and we're looking at building out a new dedicated space to them in the Mitchell Center in the next couple of years. They train 4 to 5 days a week on the river when they're in season rowing. They go to Malta Boathouse Club and they row out of there. They row up the river, they row down the river. Their coach is in a launch alongside of them with a megaphone shouting instructions. And when they're here on campus working out, they have something known as a Concept 2 rower that mimics rowing on the water, and they train in the off season, typically December, January into early February, and hopefully by late February, as long as the river is not frozen, we get out on the river and we start rowing on the river.
All right. Do many of our crew athletes go on to row in college?
Yes, not only do most of our athletes who want to row in college continue their career rowing in college, but they do so at the Division I level. So many of these athletes are granted athletic scholarships for their efforts. They row at schools such as Temple, Drexel, LaSalle, St. Joe's, and have rowed at places like Penn and Princeton over the years.
And are there good alumni involvement with the crew program?
So that's the great thing. Our crew alumni are some of the best and most philanthropic of our alumni. The crew boats, an 8-person boat outfitted with riggers and oars, can cost up to $45,000. Wow. Then you have maintenance on top of that. So our crew alumni have been tremendous in donating to the school and donating to the program so that these kids can continue to row against a very expensive sport.
How can a student get involved in the crew program?
Very simply. Today we're having an information session after 8th period in the cafeteria. It should only last about 10-15 minutes, but we'll have Coach Roach, a couple of the assistant coaches, a couple of our alumni, the equipment on display, and a brief overview of how you can join the sport. We're hoping to add a couple of athletes to the program this year. We think it's a wonderful opportunity for kids who might be interested in it to give it a try. The great thing about rowing is that everybody who's on the team, in the program, rows and rows competitively the same amount of time. Take a sport like baseball, very technical sport, great sport, wonderful sport. But if you're the second best second baseman on the team, you might not be getting in all of the games. You might miss many, many games. Whereas with a sport like crew, if you're on the team, you're competing every weekend, and it makes parents and kids very happy as a result of that.
All right, well, thank you for watching Father Judge with this special CNN interview. We'll be starting our normal broadcast shortly.
Thank you.